Welcome to Raising the Bar, a podcast giving no bullshit marketing advice for Aussie business owners. Expertise takes experience, and that's why we tell stories from lived experience to deliver marketing that raises the standard of what Aussie business owners should expect.
Welcome back to episode 2 of Raising the Bar. Being episode 2, it's the first time I can say welcome back, which is exciting. Maybe the last time, depending on my interview skills. I'm Mon, or Meep, and I'm here with my good mate Mel. How are you today, Mel?
I'm good. I'm very tired, so we'll see how good I am at answering questions today.
Yeah, you've had a busy day. I don't think I harassed you once, which is well done. That's a record for me, so pat on the back.
Good.
But whilst everyone's listening and we're hooked up to microphones, I did submit 10 proposals for you to review. And you can't say anything about it because we're recorded.
Okay.
When I'm out on the road and I'm having conversations with business owners, their question generally is, how are they going to see ROI from their marketing?
Yeah, it's the best question they should be asking. So very good, means that they're probably a business owner we want to work with. I think I've always liked to answer that question in two parts, because in marketing there's these, I refer to them as assets, the things that you need. So it might be a capability statement or a product brochure or the things that you actually need to have to run a business. And those things are really hard just to prove ROI from. If someone sits down with me like, want to build a website with you, what's the ROI going to be for that website? And I'm like, well, if you're just building a website, you're essentially just building a billboard in a desert because no one's going to see it. So how are people actually going to find your website? And so those kind of assets are quite hard to prove ROI on. But there's a second piece, which is, are you doing demand generation or lead generation activities? And those activities are the ones that we can quite quickly start to look at return on investment for campaign types. So that would be things like your pay-per-click advertising, your Google ads, or if you're doing billboard advertising or radio advertising, there's ways we can implement metrics and actually make sure we measure that. Overall, when you get sort of 6 months into a campaign or maybe 12 months into a campaign, that's when we can start to look at the overall ROI of marketing. So that's when you can start look at metrics like the total cost of your marketing, including the resources and including those assets that you've created, and then compare that with your total revenue that you've made over a period of time. But I think from almost front on, so from the first moment that you start marketing, you've got to produce those assets, and it will take some time to get return on investment. I just think that's a really important thing for people to consider before they jump straight into, when am I going to see the ROI? You've got to be pretty logical that you've also got to get the core assets ready first, and it'll take a little bit longer to get them done.
Yeah, but those core assets, like a website, we use so much to actually enable us to track, right?
Oh, they're critical things in it. I mean, it's kind of like, you've got to have a car with the wheels, and the website is the critical element that's actually going to get things moving. So pretty much every campaign we do will lead back in some form or another to a phone call or through to a website with a form fill on it. And ultimately they're the metrics, where the two core metrics are going to come from.
Yeah, I usually feel like there's always that resistance when people want return on investment, but they know they have to spend on a website. They kind of want to pick the other tactics, but I feel like so much is limited when they don't have that core asset.
Listen, even from direct mail, metrics that are probably more traditional, generally we're driving traffic to landing pages through QR codes. Generally, we're directing people to a landing page. So a good website, we can build an independent website, but generally you're going to be using a website as the core of measurement in terms of being able to see how the leads come in and how you're going to measure that metric.
Yeah. So talking about measuring metrics, I'm a business owner. Tactics are in play, got those core assets, and I'm getting a report on things like impressions, clicks, reach. There's more, I can't remember them. What do you say to that? What do you say to people who are focusing on those kind of metrics or getting reports with that kind of metric? Yeah,
I think ultimately the thing we see in market the most is people really just not understanding their lead reporting. Generally, that's from the digital side of marketing. So they're getting what we would generally call in a business vanity stats. But listen, I think it all comes down to purpose and objective of the campaign you're running. So I would generally say that likes and follows is a bit of a vanity stat because I like making money for my customers. At the end of the day, for me, the key measurement should be making revenue for the client. But we have engagements. We have an engagement with a client that we actually pretty recently signed where their core objective of our engagement is to get likes across their LinkedIn page. They're looking for brand and industry awareness. They want to be the market leader in Perth and actually across into Singapore. And our metric is to make sure we get likes from the right type of audience profile in those two key geographic locations. So I think make sure you've set your objective and purpose in terms of what's important, in terms of the things that you want to measure as a business owner. But I guess I want to preface that by saying at the end of the day, if you are running a lead generation campaign, you want to be getting marketing qualified leads or MQLs. That's what everyone's looking for. And from MQLs, we want to be driving, well, what is that marketing qualified lead as it come through once the sales team has spoken to that lead or that lead's come through, then is that a sales qualified lead or an SQL? And what's the value of that lead? And when we start to do that, we can start going, well, hang on, we've quoted this much revenue and we spent this much money. And that's where we can start to sort of see, return on ad spend, and we can start to see data. So ROAS, that return on ad spend number. And once we close that work, and we start to accumulate that data, that's when we can start to see ROI. For me, that's the most important statistic if you're investing in that demand generation or lead generation marketing, and you should be asking for it.
Yeah. So going back to the client that we do, they like likes, right, on their social media.
Our objective is likes, follows.
So, but because we give a lot more context with our reporting. So how do we go further than giving likes in that scenario?
In terms of what they're looking for. I guess in terms of leading indicators, so it's how are we actually going to get those likes in, and where are they coming from relevant audiences? So what channel are the likes coming from? So we might be doing paid advertising, we might be doing organic social media. So ultimately, where are the likes coming from is somewhat important. But the most important thing is, over time and history, people have gone out and bought likes for a company. So you've got 44,000 people from India who have liked your company page. They're not the right people seeing your messaging and seeing your market out there because they've gone and paid for them. So one of the things that we would suggest to them, okay, well, what are your target audiences? What type of people do you want following them? In their case, they've got 3 very distinct audiences that we've outlined in the strategy and 3 very distinct geographic locations. So for us, people have to have the job title related to those 3 target audiences, and they need to be in those geographic areas where we're targeting. Does that answer your question?
So there's a lot more context that we give them versus this many likes. Yeah. So going back now to your marketing qualified versus sale qualified, when we're looking at a report that someone's done for marketing, what does that look like? How does that look good on a page, that kind of report for a marketing qualified lead?
I think it's probably my favourite question in what we do.
You need to get out more.
Yep. I would suggest that a lot of people are just given dashboards where no one's even really looked at it from digital agencies or from their marketer. So there's really good tools out there that do that, and you plug it into, you'd plug it into the Google Ads console, or you'd plug it into your Meta console, and it just feeds through to a single platform, and you're getting that data. So you might have, number of website visits and, number of conversions, number of returning visitors versus number of new visitors. I guess some of that can be really useful as leading indicators, but honestly, who gives a shit? At the end of the day, for what we're looking for is the actual revenue, the real leads that you got. So what I want to see, and I would absolutely advocate for, is first question I would ask, what's a conversion? I look at these reports so often, and there'll be 44 conversions for the month on the incumbents report, and I'm like, that's a lot of leads for an accounting firm, 44 leads. When we actually look at the conversion metrics, what that previous agency has set up as a conversion metric, it's a conversion is clicking on the contact us page or viewing the staff profile page. Well, that's a bullshit conversion. That's not real. So really important thing to ask as a business owner is, what does conversion actually mean on this report? What do you list as a conversion here? And there's actually only 3 types of conversion that ever actually matter. One is that the form fill is actually filled in. So they go to the website, it might be a get a quote or a contact us or a chat with us form. Is that form fill from the website filled in? The other one would be a phone call. That's a legitimate conversion type. Did they make a phone call? And the last one would be if you sell something on your website, did you actually make a sale on your website? They're the conversions that you should actually be measuring, right? So I think, this can be super simple, but what I like to do and what, I would advocate is just have a really simple spreadsheet. And I want to see who inquired. Oh, it was Mon. It was Mon Cook. It was from this company.
Thanks for giving away my surname.
It's on the website, mate. And in your email address. I think you're okay. Oh, and on your LinkedIn in profile?
Yeah,
okay. We can keep rolling through. It's fine. Who are you? What's your email address? What's your phone number? What company are you from? What was the inquiry? Is that a qualified inquiry? And I think what's really important is when it comes to phone calls, there are a lot of businesses that most of their leads come from phone calls. You can't just have the conversion as be a click. The phone call needs to be recorded, it needs to be listened to, it needs to be transcribed, and it needs to be determined of whether or not it's a quality lead. Because that conversion number, when you look at that piece of paper, look at this piece of paper, we got 44 conversions. Well, half of them were probably some bloody SEO company trying to sell you SEO, or someone asking for a job interview. They're not leads. They have to be excluded from the reporting, and we need to be talking at a level which is a marketing qualified lead. So keep it simple, stupid, simple spreadsheet, have the leads that have come in across the course of a month. The next thing I would be looking for is, the lead acquisition channel, but at a really simplistic level. Who made the lead? What company are they from? What was their inquiry type? And then we need to hand that over to the sales team and understand, is that something we're going to quote on? And ultimately, is it something that we won and made revenue from?
So just a boring old spreadsheet.
If
lost all your tech level there.
Well, they're not easy to make, and we probably wouldn't give away.
Yeah, you've seen them.
They're not easy to make. Listen, if someone's got a flowing CRM system and we can integrate with that, then phenomenal. Those things aren't needed. That data feeds straight into the lead source within a CRM system.
Yeah.
But what we generally find is that sales teams aren't phenomenal at keeping things up to date, and that marketing generally needs to be driving the activity and making sure, did we get in touch with this person? What happened with this lead? What went? And quite frankly, in my experience, for SMEs, particularly SMBs in Perth, that's where the majority of our clients are, this is the most effective way of being able to measure if they're making money from the activity we're doing or not.
So from, the salesperson in the business to the business owner then. So that really relies heavily on the sales role to kind of do their admin side.
I think that's probably the most underestimated thing in marketing is the interaction between a BD and a sales team. And listen, BD and sales are actually kind of defined as different things, but marketing, BD and sales working together is the most important thing that can happen. So obviously, this is a much bigger scenario in a B2B business, so business to business, where there is sales teams and there's business development managers and salespeople closing work. But what I would want to see is a marketing team meeting with a sales team at least weekly, going through the leads that have come through and understanding from the opportunity pipeline and understanding from the revenue won, what's actually transacted. From a marketing point of view, that's incredibly important because we can see if the marketing's effective. So one of the things I really encourage our team to do is if a lead is not marketing qualified or not sales qualified, what channel did it come from? If a client's paid for a lead, I had an example today where it was a hydraulic hose company and a marketing lead that had come in. So it was a pay-per-click, so a Google Ads conversion had come. It was a phone call, and they didn't actually sell that type of clamp that goes over hoses. I'm very technical with hydraulic hoses, obviously. Yeah. That what we've got to figure out is, well, why did someone make an inquiry with a company from a paid ad that it's something they don't sell? We need to make sure that's an exclusion term. It's not something that someone's going to search and that company's going to have to pay for again. So that relationship between sales and marketing has to be ongoing. Is the marketing working? Are they the right kind of leads? Are they a dickhead customer? Are they a perfect ideal customer? And if they're an ideal customer, where did we get them from? So that relationship, incredibly important in reporting.
Yeah. That's a hard conversation though, right? Because in sales, you're constantly trying to kind of do your outbound or at my day today, I wrote 10 proposals and I didn't update the lead sheet or our CRM. Once again, there's people in the room, so you can't do anything. But like, I guess if you were talking to a business owner and trying to help them to be able to communicate to their sales position the importance of them kind of actually getting that admin done, like how would you help them kind of communicate that to their BD team or their sales team? Because there's a disconnect. I see it with some of our clients. If the sales team is not performing, like it's hard for the owner to really get them on board sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, listen, ultimately, I don't think it needs to be monotonous as updating it every single day and every single lead that comes in. A company's reporting cycles would define that. So you can be let off because, we don't have our lead reporting until Monday morning. So you can work through the weekend and make sure those 10 proposals are reported.
That's so kind of you.
But I guess for us, ours is fairly automated. As soon as you submit a proposal, it's automatically in the pipeline. We have a process to do that. But in terms of, updating that lead sheet, I actually would encourage that the marketer drives it. It's the marketer's data. So that's why I'd encourage that weekly meeting. I'd encourage the marketer and the BD team to sit down, and ultimately, it's not my job to define what the behaviours of someone in a company should be. But if I'm a business owner and my sales team isn't putting the data in that allows us to know if we can achieve things or not from our marketing, I'm probably going to tie that to their sales commission and make sure I'm driving the right behaviour. Just a note for me to put that into the sales commission dashboard later. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, so then so with a business owner, what is the most important question they can kind of ask their marketing resource or their agency about ROI?
Again, if the purpose is that they're meant to be doing a demand generation or lead generation campaign, I would just be asking marketing qualified leads. So the key metric that I want from you is how many marketing qualified leads am I getting? And I think on a monthly scale that would be a really easy thing to report on. And just making sure that marketing qualified leads are, again, you want to know every detail about it. Phone calls should be recorded. We should be able to hear if it was a quality lead or not. Form fills, we want to make sure all the spam's omitted from that form fill, making sure that it's actually a genuine lead that comes through. It's been filtered and been looked after. And obviously sales data's there, but marketing qualified leads, that's a marketer's job. I get marketing qualified leads and I get them and I give them to the sales team, and the sales team then make them a sales qualified lead. So just look for that as a metric. And I honestly believe in really simple metrics for every role in every organisation, but as marketers it would be, what is the number of marketing qualified leads? What's the cost of acquiring those leads? And ultimately then I can have a look at my return on investment. And that's what we should be looking at.
Seems very simple.
It is. Getting that data is hard, but marketing's super bloody logical. And I actually think, particularly pertaining to digital, small business owners actually have a bit of a fear because there's so many bloody acronyms and it's so confusing. They're 100% right. They have to have faith in themselves. Am I making money from what I'm paying you? That actually is the question you can ask if you want to. But ultimately, I think we get scared of asking the question and we get baffled by the bullshit of all those vanity statistics I talk about. Ask them to take that shit off the report. When we start every single report, it is marketing qualified leads. This is the marketing qualified leads we got you. We build a dashboard from that spreadsheet, and that's what we put on that. And if they go, I don't remember getting 10 leads this month. Okay, well, let's have a look and go through them. Oh shit, they did come through. Yeah, it just didn't turn into anything. Okay, so it wasn't qualified. That's cool. It wasn't a sales qualified lead. But everything in marketing is logical. And if you're running a business and you know what a good client looks like, you should be able to have those conversations with your marketing agency or your internal marketing team.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, it's popping into my head now. When I'm having a sales conversation with someone and they ask about ROI, and because they want to know when will I get ROI? They see the amount they're paying per month and they're like, at what point do I now make money? And this is not costing me money.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, it's not my favourite question to be asked because I feel like, my background's, I'm in a medical background, I was in a medical field, and you tend to not answer a question unless you know the exact answer. And so in that moment, I have to be, it's kind of feels like how long is a piece of string? You don't really know until you engage. And so do you think that those other little metrics that people are reporting on are just trying to fill the space whilst you're in your early engagement and you're not actually getting return on investment? And then it's people just don't kind of have that understanding that it takes a lot of time to actually get true return on investment.
Yeah, I mean, listen, again, it comes back to purpose. You can undertake a campaign. We have a beautiful client, Expedition Systems, right? And they are selling, and hi, Pat, Zach, how you doing? And we turned on a Facebook campaign for them. It's an awesome product. It's really quite simple to market. I didn't mean that, Pat, Zach. It's very hard and quite technical. We had them 2 qualified leads, I think, in the first 3 days. The campaign was turned on, right? Because that's the type of product it is, and that's the type of campaign we were running. And by another token, you've got a B2B, consulting firm, an accounting firm. And I reckon it was probably 8 months before the activity we did actually turned a client round for them, right? So, it's not the easiest thing to answer on the spot, but ultimately you've got to take a look at what the activity is happening. Is it demand generation activity? Is it brand awareness activity? To give you an indication of that accounting firm, what had to happen there was it was account-based marketing. So it was a direct mail campaign. That direct mail campaign hinged on the right landing page being built. That landing page needed a messaging strategy. That messaging strategy and campaign messaging needed a very compelling story around what that accountant could do differently to your current accountant. And we handpicked the people it was going to go to. We delivered direct mail, but took us a long time to put together. So messaging strategy, landing pages, then photo shoots, then buying merchandise, getting the direct mail out there, right? So it takes some time.
Yeah.
But in that instance, that one account for that accounting firm, the total customer lifetime of that client, I mean, accounting firms are like bloody, health insurance. You don't want to change it very often. It's very fucking annoying to try to change it. So once they're with you, if you're good at what you do, they'll be with you for life. So your total customer lifetime value is increased. And I think that's always a good thing to consider. In that hose crimping example, is it all right if I go into an example?
Yeah, let's back to the hose. This is really interesting.
This is my special topic tonight. Ultimately, I don't think pay-per-click as a raw acquisition channel for them will return a positive return on investment. Most of their inquiries come in. I need 15 hose clamps. Hose clamps are $1.73 each. I can't do the maths on that, but let's say it was 10. You're converting a $17 lead. It might have cost you $50 to acquire that lead. But what matters is who is the company that made the inquiry. Yeah. So in a case of me looking through that lead sheet today, I was like, hey guys, did anyone, it's a very big valve and hosing coupling company. I was like, hey guys, this is a big company. Like, did anyone follow this up? No one had followed up yet. Came in yesterday, no one's followed that up. Now, what I would be saying is sell them the $17 worth of hose clamps, but then get your BD team onto that lead. Have them phone up. Hey, Mon, it's Mel here. I'm from the hose clamp company. I just noticed you bought these through us. We hadn't done business with you before. We know what you guys do. We really think we can add value to you. Would love to engage with you and have a little chat about what we could do for you. So can you turn them into rather than a pay-as-you-go account, cash account, can you turn them into a regular account and have a more meaningful interaction? I guess in the retail space, can you increase their basket size? But can you increase your revenue share with that business? Can you piss off the incumbent and win that account through good account service? And that's customer journey mapping. So I think it's a complex question on return on investment, but you have to understand those intricacies. And ultimately, after a year, your marketing company, if the purpose is to make you money, probably should be able to turn around and be able to tell you that they are or they aren't doing it for you.
So what would you say to a business owner if they were engaging with an agency or they had a new staff member doing their marketing and they were actually answering that question really quickly and just saying, oh, you want to engage on these services, we can do it within a month? What would you kind of say to them to do, to question, to talk through?
Bullshit. Yeah, I think I think incredibly
No one swears as much as you, Melissa.
Yeah. Yeah, I just, within a month, I think it would be really hard. I mean, I'm always skeptical of seeing, those campaigns out there. They say, this company grew us by 300 and 400%. Quite often we meet with people and their objective isn't the number of leads that they get in. It's, are they profitable leads? It's something that we have to really consider. Is it tangible? But within a month, it's the least, it's possible, but it's the least likely.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. So if you have one thing to say to business owners about ROI and going in this space, one thing that they should take away from this podcast and from everything you've been saying, what is it?
If you're running demand generation or lead generation campaigns, you should only have one metric. That is the number of marketing qualified leads that you get. And everything around the edge should be fluff. So you can get presented that, but ultimately ask for MQLs. And if you're not getting presented that data, or there's resistance to that data or excuses for that data, find yourself another marketer.
Nice. Great. Easy. Thanks for listening, guys.
Get your Uber Eats account out. Cheers, Meepy.
Cheers.